There lived a farmer named Jack, a hard-working man known by everyone for his determination and unwavering spirit. Jack lived on a farm with his wife, Emily, and their young son, Ethan. They had been struggling through a season of drought. The rain hadn't come for months, and the once fertile land had turned dry and cracked. Every day, Jack would look out over the fields, watching the crops wilt and knowing that without rain, there was little hope of survival. Despite the harsh conditions, Jack never gave up. He continued working in the fields every day, hoping against hope that the rain would come soon. Emily, always supportive, would remind Jack that they had to keep faith, but Jack could see the worry in her eyes. Ethan, their curious 6-year-old, never fully understood the weight of their struggles, but he could sense the tension that had settled over their home. One evening, after another long day of work in the scorching sun, Jack sat down with his family for dinner. Emily served a simple meal, but it was enough. The silence at the table was heavy, each of them lost in their own thoughts. Finally, Ethan broke the silence. "Mom, Dad, why hasn't the rain come yet? Will the crops die?" he asked, his voice trembling with concern. Jack sighed deeply, his heart aching. He looked at his son, whose innocent eyes seemed to carry the weight of the entire farm. "I don't know, Ethan, but what I do know is that we have to keep going. We can't stop now." Ethan seemed satisfied with his father's answer, but Jack could see the worry still in his eyes. That night, as Jack lay awake in bed, he thought about everything they had been through. The farm had been in his family for generations, and he wasn't about to let it slip away so easily. But something deep inside him stirred, a reminder that hope alone was not enough. He needed more than just a wish for rain. He needed faith. The next morning, Jack woke up early as usual. Emily was already up, preparing breakfast, and Ethan was running around the yard, playing as usual. Jack took a deep breath and decided that today would be different. He would do something more than just work in the fields. He would act with conviction, as if the rain was already on its way. "I'm going to pray today," Jack said to Emily, who raised an eyebrow in surprise. "You've never been the praying type," she said softly, still surprised at his words. "What changed?" "I think I've been too focused on the problem," Jack replied, his voice steady. "Maybe it's time I focus on the solution. Faith alone might not be enough, but with faith, anything is possible." Emily nodded in understanding, and they both agreed to pray together as a family that evening. As the sun began to set, casting an orange glow over the dry fields, they gathered in the living room, holding hands. "Please, Lord," Jack prayed, his voice filled with quiet determination. "We've worked hard, and we've done all we can, but we need your help now. Our land is dry, and our crops are failing. Please send the rain." Ethan, sensing the seriousness of the moment, squeezed his father's hand and added, "And please, God, help us. I know you can do anything." After the prayer, Jack stood up, feeling a sense of peace he hadn't felt in months. Emily smiled softly at him, her eyes filled with understanding. But it was Ethan who caught Jack's attention next. The little boy, with his bright eyes full of hope, had grabbed an old, worn umbrella from the corner of the room. "Dad, we're praying for rain, right? I think we should take this with us," Ethan said as he held up the umbrella with a smile. Jack chuckled, a warm feeling spreading through his chest. "Why would we need an umbrella? There's no sign of rain." "But we're praying, and I believe the rain is coming," Ethan said, his voice firm with belief. Jack looked at his son, his heart swelling with pride. The faith in his son's eyes was enough to rekindle his own belief. Jack knelt down to Ethan's level, took the umbrella from his hands and kissed his forehead. "You're right," he said softly. "Let's go to the fields together, with faith in our hearts." And so the family walked out into the fields, the umbrella in Jack's hand. The sky was still clear, and the air was dry. But Jack, Emily, and Ethan walked with purpose, as if they already knew that their prayers had been answered. They worked side by side, tilling the soil and checking the crops, with the umbrella held high as a symbol of their faith. That night, as Jack lay in bed, he couldn't help but smile. For the first time in a long while, he felt hopeful. He had done more than just pray. He had acted with belief. And then, around midnight, something remarkable happened. The sky darkened, and the first drops of rain began to fall. It wasn't just a light drizzle. It was a heavy, soaking rain that drenched the earth and replenished the parched land. Jack stood at the window, watching the rain fall in sheets, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. His faith had been rewarded, not just in the form of rain, but in the renewed belief that anything was possible with the right mindset. The next morning, as the sun rose over the wet fields, Jack knew that the road ahead would still be tough. But he also knew that with perseverance, faith, and the willingness to take action, they could overcome any challenge. And he had his son, Ethan, to thank for reminding him of the power of belief.